It's one step forward, it's two steps back. And that seems to be how this build is going at the minute. I had a bit of a eureka moment. I was walking down the road the other day and my brain just had a little word in my ear. How you doing, love mama? Let me whisper in your ear. And so I realised I'd fucked up again. How many cock-ups can we have on this build? In all fairness, the body's looking spanking. That's ready for a bit of love, a few more drilly bits. No worries at all. We're not looking at that today. We're moving on from the body and we're going to do the bit that I've been procrastinating about the most. Give me a fender neck, I can knock that up without even thinking. But I've been lazy for too long, so this is why we're doing something new. So I've got to do this backwards. I realised you have to cut your fret slots before you bind.
You can't fix stupid.
And I've had a wonderful StewMac fret nipper for ages. Mrs. Richards told me I swear too much. And watching my video back the other day, I think I did. So I'm going to dial it back. We might ramp it back up, but I'll try to keep it to a minimum. So I have to cut my fret slot. So I whipped off the binding, and the more astute of you will notice that I've changed the fretboard on this neck, because the other bit I had was my last bit of ebony in the workshop. Didn't really like it. After I radiused it, which I won't show, it was pretty minging. So I've got a lovely bit of ebony, which has come from somewhere else. I can't remember where I bought it. Yeah, I got it from somewhere else. So I've processed that, I've stuck it all back on, we've adjusted everything, it's all lovely. I'm gonna get this done and I'm gonna sort out and cut my fret slots. That is the first port of call. I have to make sure that they are deep enough now, otherwise after I bind it, I'm in the shit. And we don't want to be doing that. It's the first time I've built a net like this. It's way more of a ball ache the first time round. There's a bit to learn, but there you go. So anyway, we'll cut to the fret slotting station, which is basically a chop saw, but let's zhuzh it up, shall we? Let's make it seem better than it really is. Onwards to the montage. Right, so the next port of call, I've got to get this rebound. Luckily, that doesn't really take very long on the neck, so I'll just whip it through the cutter over there. This is actually the third time I've done it. Perhaps I should start keeping some mistakes secret. I want you to start thinking that I'm shit. If you want me to show you how to make Jigus Maximus, let me know in the comments. I've got quite a few jig videos coming up. Have a sneak preview of that dirty little guzzler. Whew!
Dear God, it's beautiful.
Have you seen the price of neck jigs? That's why I made that. StewMac and GW make some amazing gear, but my God, neck jigs are expensive. That one's not. So if you want a video on that, let me know, you wee bastards. On to the router station. Back over on the bench, I've got my nuts. I know where my nuts go in. I've got a line where my nuts go in. That's simple, isn't it? Piece of cake. Not piss, cake. Bit of love making need in there. I'm gonna have to recut my notch where my spoke wheel truss rod is. And then we'll get some binding on. And then once I've done that, we'll get radiused. And then once I've done that, I'll put my centre dots in. We've got an order. Should we get cracking? Make it up as you go along. Right, so there's my notch. I'm just going to drill that out for now. Look at the camera when you're talking, Paul. I'm just going to drill that out for now. Be professional, you numbnuts. Just a reminder that this is the first time I've ever made a neck like this. And no doubt if I did it again, I'd do it in a different order. There you go, so we've got a little notch cut, we can see our spoke truss rod. I'm going to stick some binding on now. You ready for some excitement? I'll do a little speedy uppy. Clears away the mess, so I've got me binding on. I've even bound around me cutout because I felt like being posh. Doesn't actually give you as much room for adjustment, but looks nice. How often do you have to use the bloody thing? I imagine you've all seen a radius jig before. Well, this is the radius jig, which I've had to adjust a bit because this neck is super chunky. Naturally, it goes on there and away you whirl. You wouldn't see that on a fucking Pepsi advert, would you? Not a chance. Get him off! Get him off! Right, so that's gone a little bit better. We are radiused. Still rough as a badger's ass. Got a fair bit of sanding to do on there, but I'm okay with that. I've got a plan. Because that doesn't leave me a lot of height for a nut, I'm going to take this down a little bit more. I'm going to reduce that, and I'm also going to chop my nut into the neck a bit. We'll have a bit of meat on me nuts. Something I'll look at in future at what I did wrong there. I think I should have used a table saw to cut my headstock angle. That would have been much better, much more accurate than the jigsaw, than the
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Phil. Not a fucking clue.
bandsaw. Spit it out, mug. Spit it out! But that's all right. Lesson learned. We've learned a lesson. Use a table saw to cut your headstock angles. Got the tools? Use the tools. Wait for the comments I read on other people's channels. How am I supposed to copy this if I've only got a jigsaw and a handsaw? Long story short, you can't, dickhead. You have to start small. Start with a kit. That's where I started.
Get off of me!
You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I left quite a few marks with the router that time and I had quite a bit of sanding to do. But it's looking spanking. Much better than the last bit of wood. That is a better result. Sometimes it's worth taking 2 steps back to go 1 step forward. Try to avoid doing it multiple times on a build. But we're here to learn. I'm learning, and the difference is I'm learning in front of you, which Should feel a bit it doesn't feel pressured really, I don't care. Self-deprecation is one of my skills. So I've got some posh cream dots for the fretboard, which are going to look lovely. That is a beautiful bit of ebony, chocolatey heaven. And I've only got perloid, tortoiseshell, blue, perloid, celluloid, something in the Lloyds. So we're going to go with them. I haven't got any glow in the dark stuff, but it's a bit gimmicky anyway. I don't play in the dark. Put the fucking light on. We'll just use Dave for this bit again. I'll move Dave around a bit. We'll get some angles. We'll get some love shots. Because how else can you zhuzh up gluing dots in to a fretboard? Stay with me, folks. This is about to get exciting. Ha ha! What an absolute nonce. Forgot to film it. I had a camera. I was even positioning it around the room, but it wasn't turned on. Absolute toenail. So there you go. I've got some dots in. Ta-da! It's all looking a bit rough and ready at the minute, but yeah, it's all in there, look. Cracking. So the next job I'm going to have to do, and it's not going to be this video, I'm going to condense down. And this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Watch one of these little playlists. Cheeky playlist. Next video, I'm going to have to make a sled of sorts. A sled so that I can route to this headstock, change the angle, and get it back accurately to this line. Just for a change, I'm going to make it up as I go along. I've also got a plate to go on top to hold the nut in place, Gibson style-esque. It's not what Yamaha do, but I prefer Gibson's method of keeping the nut locked in place with the cover. So yeah, I've got to take a bit more off this headstock. We'll figure that out. That could be life or death, but there you go. Once I've done that, I will get a fret job done, and then once I've done that, I will start the task of shaping the bottom of this neck. That's pretty cool. Because after that, really, it's sanding, painting, and thinking about getting things together. We're getting somewhere, folks. We're getting somewhere. My brains, I feel a little bit better now. I've got to this point. But we've got one more video of tribulations. I don't know if that's the right word. People like to correct me anyway if my grammar's incorrect. If that's you, get a fucking life. See you next week, everyone. Ta-ra! He films videos like he makes love. Blink and you'll miss it.